from what Doug, from what let's eliminate like Giannis, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum. Let's eliminate people that you have no chance of getting. Okay, realistically, if I could grant you a single player to acquire that you think would sort of fix multiple problems on this team, who would it be?
Given, I'm going to throw this name out there because it's a weird one. Given the contract situations, where the franchise is, Chris Paul would be the intriguing ad.
Hmm.
He's got 1 year left. It's full, or 1 year and a half guaranteed left next year, and then no guarantee on the last year of his deal. So he might be a bridge guy, and he's a leader. He's been a winner. I think he's still a good player. I watched him last night. He looked really, really good in the game against Dallas. So he's an intriguing bit. I said this to somebody the other day that I think the this team needs to add the Charles Oakley that the Vince Carter Raptors added, an old head, a guy who's going to slap somebody in the face if they don't do the right thing, and they don't have that. And I don't know that Chris Paul is that, but I think he's a very intriguing bit to look at.
Do you think he's available?
Oh, I think Phoenix is ready. Phoenix is in the same weird place Toronto is.
Yeah.
And they're good, but they're not great. They're okay, but they were in the finals 2 years ago. But they're stuck in that western middle, and they might be looking at. I think Fred VanVleet in Phoenix would look great. So maybe there's something to do there in June. Maybe something to do there 10 days from now. But I think it's more likely a June thing.
You think there's been a lot written on like potentially who could go and who might go, or whether it's realistic or not. Eric Corrine, who works with me at The Athletic, has really written some interesting pieces just on like trade kind of tiers and what might be likely and what might not be. I think you'd be insane at this point to trade Pascal Siakam personally,
Yes,
but
yes.
I mean, obviously there'd be interest, although the contract's big. But what really fundamentally has to be asked by the Raptors organization, and you'd be a great guy to ask it just because you observe it, is do you think Pascal and Scotty like fit? Can they fit as a twosome? And then obviously if they can, then you work around those two guys because they are uniquely skilled at what they do.
I think they can, but I think it's going to be on Barnes to adapt. I think Pascal is smart enough and adaptable enough that he will subtly change his game if he has to. But I think Scotty Barnes is an intriguing guy to me. Immensely skilled. He might be a 10-time All-Star, or he might just be a guy. I don't know yet. He's unbelievably good, and then unbelievably takes nights off. And I think he needs to change his attitude, his work ethic, and his coachability. He's got to be a guy. He doesn't. Like I said, early in the year there was a sense of players are telling me there's a sense of entitlement to the guy. Like they haven't spoke up his butt for a year, so you can't let him get away with that. And I think somebody must have got to him, people around him, people in the organization, because he's been brilliant the last 10 days, last
But
10
that
games
was
together.
again, I mean, this is interesting because I haven't heard much of this, but like, doesn't that counter to like what everybody sort of said about him
Yeah,
coming out of school? And like, the thing about him is that he, gym rat, first at the gym kind of guy, right? Loves to play. He's certainly unselfish with the ball. I mean, that's very clear. So this, I don't know, maybe some of it is you're 20 years old and everybody's telling you that you're the greatest thing since Michael Jordan.
I think that's got a lot to do with it. I think last year the game came easy to him, and the game is not easy. And all of a sudden this year, people are paying attention to him. Like
Yeah.
no one's up guarding him close or laying off and letting him shoot. Last year they were getting up on him. He was blowing by him because that's what he does. So I think his game has to make subtle changes to it, and he hasn't yet.
What does he have to do? Because one of the things that I see on a regular basis is got to get the ball at the free throw line. So he's got a 15-footer wide open, and he doesn't even look to shoot. He
He's
looks
got
to
to be
pass.
he's got to be more assertive with the shot. He has to get in the gym every day and shoot 1,000 jump shots.
Yeah.
The jump shot is still not there. That's the bottom line. And I don't know how much time he spent on that last summer. I'm told not a ton, but he's got to get in the gym every day this summer and shoot 5,000 jump shots and
Yeah.
work that out. He also has to become a little bit more selfish. He's got to go up and down the court instead of side to side. Like you watch him get the ball in the wing, and sometimes just dribbles right across the floor.
Yeah.
make the left-hand turn and go to the basket. And when he does that, he's dominant.
Yeah.
But I think he's 21 years old. His second year. The skill set says he's going to be a multi-time All-Star. But we've seen a lot. The woods are littered with carcasses of great athletes who never became great basketball players. And I think he can get that way. He can get to that point, but he's got to do it.
See, to me, I think, and we'll see obviously what happens as we head forward, but I think they found something in the last 2 games. And to me, what they found is the offense should run through him. I get that Siakam is the more sure thing in terms of when you need a basket, and certainly against Sacramento, he really could do what he wants. But I think in order for you to ultimately get to where you hope to be, the more that Scottie can be the facilitator, the more the ball can be in his hands, particularly in big moments, I think the more that his development quickens. And the other thing, Doug, like you said, is that will make you more selfish. I just think, and that's a good thing. Like, I think like ball in his hands, under a minute, tight game, like he has to go through those situations like every superstar has gone through so that he figures out like what to do. To me, that's the roadmap. But the tricky thing with the roadmap is he's 21 and you got veterans on the team and you got all-stars, and that's right. Hard, I think, to, you know, if you're Pascal, I get it. You're putting up 28 and 10 and like I'm an all NBA player. Like I should be the alpha. So that's what's tricky here, is that I think in order for them to have their best possible team, Scottie Barnes has to be the alpha, but they also have other guys, obviously, who are used to being the alpha.
Yeah, they do. And I don't know whether Scottie could be the beta guy. And I agree that I don't think he needs to bring the ball up the court and call every play, but I do think he needs to facilitate more offense. And I think that's where he's best, because he can pick defenses apart with his passes, or he can get into the restricted area and dunk on people. But he's got to do that, and he's got to do it selfishly, and he's got to do it with teammates who accept him doing that. And if they win, they will accept it. But I agree. He's got to do it, and he hasn't done it constantly enough this year. And like he's going to be, like I said, he's going to be a great player, but he's not a great player right now. He's a very, very good young player who's got a lot of ways to grow, and he's got to guard better. Like if you're watching on TV, watch a possession. There are some where he's just blah, blah, blah. He's just looking around, see what's going on. But that, again, that's youth. And I think he'll get through that. But, well, I think, and until he does, you can't say he will.